So it's called Charlie's Collectible Show, and you're like, what? Why was it? Why would it be called that? It's supposed to be a store, right? No, it's like I think he bought like this old warehouse. There's 2 stories, and then a lot of independent vendors, and it looks like we're actually already in the thick of things here. It looks like it's already on to turn 2 for the Annie player. Looks like the cards are backwards.
We'll get that fixed in a moment here, but it does look like the camera's flipped. We had it fixed earlier. It unfixed itself. You know how that be?
Yep. So Sprite Miller is going to be coming down here. Looks like Victor's going to try and clear up very likely the Pouty Poro, as that Vile Maw is not something you want to be using here. So Pouty Poro is going to be challenged here in this showdown, and it looks like oh, that's perfect.
Is that better?
But everything's
No,
backwards now.
that's everything's backwards. All right. Well, I'll have to go out there and fix it in a minute, but for now, we'll just work with it.
Yep, that's okay. So Annie is actually secretly left, and Cody is secretly right. Wait,
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, there we go.
okay, my
This will
brain's
be
melting.
good enough for right now, and then I'll get it fixed again after this round. It's fine.
Actually, I think this is perfect.
It is, except that the cards are backwards now, but that's fine.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the position of the players is correct. We had it fixed, and then it got unfixed, but that's okay. That happens.
Yep.
We're doing it live.
So this stack deck is going to come down here. Looks like he's just going to be able to dig a little bit deeper here. Hopefully find himself something that he can utilize to protect this Pouty Poro for just one more turn. Stack deck, I think one of the most powerful cards of Origins here. It's just, I think one of the things that makes it so strong is, on top of the fact that you're able to look at the top 3 cards of your main deck and put one into your hand, is the fact that it is action speed, so you can play it on your opponent's turn, which seems way too good. So, yeah, looks like this, I forget his name. I forget the 3/3. He makes a 1/1 recruit when he comes into play. So another stack deck is going to come down here. Vile Maw does not allow units to be pulled back to base from that battlefield. So you can go from battlefield to battlefield and then retreat to base, but you cannot fight or flight a unit at the Vile Maw's lair, for example. So. And yeah, so it looks like everything is going to get cleared out here by Cody Williams. He's going to be able to get himself right back up to that 2-point threshold that that Annie player was at. So now 2 more runes going to get channeled, and no, it was not Vanguard Captain.
No, you don't think it's the Vanguard Captain? It's the actual.
It's the Noxian Drummer.
It's the Noxian Drummer. Yeah.
That's the name. Yeah, Vanguard Captain is a very good card,
Also
but he does
probably in
require
here.
1 power.
Does require 1 power. True.
Yeah, the Noxian Drummer does not, which is why I think a lot of Victor players have been leaning towards it. So Falling Star is going to be put down here, and it looks like both the Sprite Mother and that Drum are going to get taken out. Very efficient use of that spell here. So while it is spell speed, it is a very powerful card and has a very powerful effect. Being able to clear 2 units for 2 mana is very good.
Yeah, you know, the biggest cost in this card, which generally is why it's favored in Kaisa versus a lot of other decks, is the 2 power is a pretty huge cost. I mean, obviously it's very inexpensive, so you're able to do multiple things on top of playing it, but having to recycle 2 runes is a very real cost with something like Falling Star. It's one of the few actual spells in the game that's able to hit units split damage. It's able to hit units that are still at the base. Very, very powerful card.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you here. A lot of people on Twitter have been being like, Twitter, Falling Star, you skip in. I do think it is a very powerful card. I don't know that it's quite that strong, though. I got to be honest. I don't think it's bannable quite yet. I think, if anything, really, I would be more in favor of banning Stack Deck than I would Falling Star. But that's not to say that either of them deserve to get a ban here. I mean, we're still in Origins. We don't even quite know how powerful a lot of these cards are because we know that they're 4 sets deep already. And Wallace of Angel is going to come down here. This Machine of Angel, rather, is going to come down here. It's not going to be able to come out with Accelerate, so it's going to have to wait a turn. But how do you feel? How do you feel about the Machine of Angel? I don't know that I hate it, but I also don't know that I like it.
I think that as a card, because it has Death Knell, it makes it very risky for your opponent to actually take it out. You know, it has the 4 might on its own, so by default it's pretty nice. And it makes it so that, like, your normal sort of, ooh, I'm going to kind of clear the board as best I can. has a very real cost to it. It's not just free to take it out because now all of a sudden they still have a very large board back at base that they can work with.
Hmm.
And, knowing Viktor, they kind of always have that grand stratagem and some of the other sort of pump spells to make their units larger.
Right.
The signature spell from Viktor obviously is one that's very strong. Switching power, +1, -1, very, very good, especially when you have a lot of units like this. And it gives you that follow-up. Normally a deck like Kaisa is very powerful. Annie's very powerful because you can remove these units without this huge cost. But now if you kill it, they just still have a whole board.
Yeah. And I mean, so I know you've been a huge Annie enjoyer. So so far, are there any picks here that you've seen from Iflar or Iflar? Iflar?
Iflar?
Yeah, from Iflar that you're like, I just don't agree with this card in the list.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the double power sort of removal spells in these lists.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that cost being very real. There are ways of navigating this deck with pretty low resources if you have to.
Right.
You don't actually need a ton of you don't really need a ton of runes most of the time. But some of the time you do. There are occasions where do Vi plus Ride the Wind, and maybe you need to do another Ride the Wind in the same turn, plus something else. You have to have a lot of resources to be able to do that. And if you have a lot of those in your deck, I feel like it sort of overcommits you into recycling a lot of your runes early, just because the power cost is too high.
Right.
Being able to untap 2 every turn, in my opinion, I think a lot of the chaos spells that just cost 2, flash, fight or flight, things like that, are very, very powerful and good enough to keep tempo, I guess, without necessarily needing to totally remove their characters from the board.
Right.
Your stuff is so efficient that being able to play stuff on your turn, on their turn, I think is good enough, and you just have access to do that a lot more if you're not running those really high power costs.
Okay. And then I've seen several Annie lists also running Hextech Ray, just as like a 1 or a 2 off. How have you felt about that?
I mean, it's really efficient. It does have the 1 power cost, but being an action, you can do it on their turn. I think a lot of players play this deck very similarly to the way that Kaisa plays, just with chaos instead of mind.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think it has a really real cost to be able to do that. And, now we're seeing another example of that here, which, dealing 4, drawing a card is very strong, but again, we're recycling another rune.
Yep, and that does mean just 1 less rune for yet another turn here. So actually, Riptide Rex is going to come down here. 3 cards going to be recycled. So a very huge cost here for Cody Williams, but he does now have a 6 might unit in his base here. He's going to be able to utilize that a little bit later on here. And honestly, this has been one of the cards that I felt has gone under the radar very largely by a lot of players here, including myself. I think it wasn't until somebody Riptide Rexed me and just like ended up winning based from that Riptide Rex that I kind of didn't even consider it as a real card. It really just comes down to that 2 power cost that I've just been shying away from it from.
Yeah.
The fact that it hits only at a battlefield has felt really bad, but I bet you they had play tested where it just says 6 damage to an enemy unit, and they're like, oh no, this needs to be at a battlefield.
Yeah, 6 to a battlefield has a very real cost. I mean, it's a great budget card. I generally prefer something like Singularity, but again, that doesn't add a body to the board. And in a deck like Viktor, you want sort of that critical mass of units on the board. So I can see it being a little bit more valuable, especially if you're running a deck that has some of the seals in it.
Right.
Which Viktor, of all decks, I think has the ability to play seals a little bit better than most, because a lot of its things are very high power cost.
Yeah. So, I mean, this Kaisa is going to come in here, going to be able to draw an additional card on top of the fact that he's going to have to discard and draw another card here. So this Annie player is going to be able to filter quite a bit here. Does end up throwing away a Darius, says he doesn't really need this Darius right now. Just needs to be able to control this board, be able to create that spacing that he's been looking for here. So 5 units on the side of Cody Williams. He's going to have to find something quick here. Riptide Rex is going to be able to answer effectively this Kai'Sa. Iflar has to have that fight or flight to be able to deal with this Riptide Rex for at least just one more turn.
I think Flash would also be pretty good in this spot. You save both of your characters to bring them back, and then next turn you can move them. The Vile Mausoleer does make it a little bit tricky with the Annie. I almost would have liked to have seen a challenge on the other side first, but I believe that Flash is just going to save the Kai'Sa here, since it's not able to take out the Annie.
Yep.
Given that the Vile Mausoleer says can't, that does override the can. Flash being one of the premier cards that unfortunately is very expensive right now, only because it's a 2-of in Proving Grounds, which has proved to be very difficult to get back.
Yeah, there you go.
For everybody.
But it's a common. It's a common, okay? Yeah, and then okay, so I got a little bit distracted there by the honestly, that was a very valuable question here from the chatter about the YouTube channel just not coming up here. Yeah, we've been having a lot of technical difficulties in between rounds. We've been trying to get it fixed. We don't know how to resolve it right now, but we're still working on it. So for right now, I guess just kind of abandoned base. But yeah, this cold week is going to be able to get rid of this Annie off this, be able to take this Annie out from that Vile Maul's lair, which allows Cody to get all the way up to 6 points here. He's got 2 units in base that he might be able to utilize here on this following turn. It is going to be coming. He's going to be coming down. So another recruit is going to be played. 3 runes remain here for Cody Williams. And yeah, this Annie player is sitting at 7 runes. He's got 5 points, so he's not going to be able to win this turn. But he might be able to utilize this Kai'Sa just to be able to draw a card here, hopefully find himself a little bit more to do. Right? Because you want this Kai'Sa to go into the recruit just because it's a very easy save. You don't expect Cody to have anything other than a Hidden Blade to be able to deal with this Kai'Sa. And so just getting a point, being able to draw a card, and then figure out what to do with the rest of your turn, I feel like is the safest bet for right now.
One part that can be kind of tricky with that, so that one again is the Vile Mausoleer, right? So if you move into that, you're kind of stuck there. Unless we ride the wind and move from battlefield to battlefield, it is very difficult to get out of there in these colors. We don't quite have retreat. We can't bounce it fully back. So Hidden Blade is coming down.
Yep, so that Hidden Blade is going to come down here, and, you know, you can flash Kai'Sa back, you could ride the wind her back.
Cannot flash it.
No, that's right, because the Vile Mausoleer, that's right.
The only way that you're going to be able to save it from Vile Mausoleer here is you would need to ride the wind to
you could just be on
the other
and
one, and then bring it back. Retreat would work. Wrong colors for this one. So that was one of the risks that I thought for Vile Mausoleer, which is why it is sort of preferred to play it in these colors. Out of Viktor, you know, not being able to protect your unit, save it by just retreating it, makes the cards like, you know, Hidden Blade a lot better. We do still get to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I think Hidden Blade is one of the most effective removal spells in the game, if not the most effective.
Hopefully he picked up his 2 cards off of this. Hidden Blade,
he did.
He did, okay.
Yep, so Darius is going to be the first card that he plays this turn. Cleave is going to come right back down, and now Darius is at 10, going right into that Riptide Rex. I don't think of there's anything that Cody can do with 1 rune remaining here, so that Riptide Rex is going to get dealt with here by this Darius, and so now Iflar is going to be able to discard and draw yet another card here. He's got 1 card remaining, or 1 rune remaining here to work with. It's just going to pass it right back, set himself right back up to 3. So have to play around a Void Seeker if possible. And then now for Cody Williams, he is going to have to use something like a Grand Stratagem, but doesn't have that quite available. And so now he is going to Cold a Week. That might be able to do, might be that death knell for Iflar here, because calling the week that Darius just means that he has no bodies to protect this field here. And yeah, looks like that is going to be game number 1 here. No more removal spells in Iflar's hand there is what that means. So We're gonna go on to game number 2.
A bit unfortunate. It's possible that with one more turn, doing something like, Vi, Ride the Wind, take out both battlefields would have worked, but not quite enough of a field. A little bit too much removal that was ran out here. Vilema's Lair was a pretty big cost. Definitely a great battlefield for Viktor in this spot. And, we've been seeing it more and more. The more of these Chaos decks have been rising in popularity, it is very good against them. A lot of your best cards are ones that, fight or flight, push their unit back to base, flash, move your own units back to base, ride the wind, move stuff around. All those just are not an option through that Vilema's Lair. Really tricky to work around.
Yeah. Chat is complaining about the ads, as they usually do. But yeah, we can't edit it. So, but production can.
I can look at it later.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do about it right this exact second.
Nope. So okay. So if you're Annie here, obviously you're going to be going first. But what battlefield you're running in game number 2?
It depends on the battlefields that they're running. We ran out Zon Warrens first, which is not uncommon. A lot of these lists now have been running like Scrap Heap, Zon Warrens, and then you side them out in the second game. Dreaming Tree is pretty common. Makes it so that all of your flashes and such, cleave, is able to pick up an extra card. Very good.
Right.
I would expect that on the play, most likely. And then probably either that'll be on the play or it'll be the arena, and we'll just gain an extra point to start and get in there quick, win the game on the play, and then on the draw we'll try to outcard advantage them later.
Makes sense. Yep. And then also for Iflar, I didn't see any Vi's in hand or in play, so could have just not seen them. But I mean, I have to assume that Vi is really good in Annie. Why would it? Yeah, like why would it not be?
Oh no, Vi's great.
Yeah, I'm just. But like, why would you not run it?
You don't think that they're running it?
Why we didn't see any in game 1? That's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that he's not on Vi? Like, I don't even know what you would run instead of Vi.
Certainly, there's Vi in the deck. I mean, that's one of the major reasons to run it out. But sometimes you just don't have it.
Fair enough.
Or sometimes it's just not quite good enough. I mean, all the spots where we were running it out, it would have kind of ran into the same removal. There were a lot of hidden blades, a lot of Call the Weeks. We just never really had an opportunity to develop much of a board. Unfortunate missing a unit on turn 1 here.
Yeah, that's pretty devastating, actually.
We do still have some outs to get a unit into a battlefield. It looks like Dreaming Tree was what was chosen. And interestingly, Zon Warrens from the Viktor. So both of these are generally pretty favorable for Annie battlefield-wise.
Yeah, and a Daring Poro is going to come down here alongside this recruit. So Cody is actually just going to be right at 2 units here. So very likely going to be able to play to both battlefields in this coming turn here. Very strong situation to be in if you are the Viktor player, especially because this Annie player is taking all the time in the world to just play these stack decks out. He's looking for something very specific here. Doesn't seem to be finding it, which is, I think, the worst case scenario here. So we'll have to see how he decides to navigate the rest of this turn. But I mean, if he just doesn't drop something here, I feel like it's almost over.
Yeah, it can be very hard to come back. I generally don't mind early stack decks as long as you are still developing a bit of a board with them. The deck is able to play a lot of inexpensive units, a lot of 2s, be it Poros or Tide Hunters if you're running them. There's also even Vi costs 2. Sometimes it's okay to just run that out. But if we're missing basically all of our 2s, sneaky deckhand could be okay here.
I would like to see a sneaky deckhand here just to get an early point because you already missed your 2 drop. And yes, it is only 2 might, but I don't think that matters too much. Yes, the Poro can get around it. Again, it doesn't matter too much. I think you're just trying to get a point early on here. So Pouty Poro is going to be the card that comes down instead. So he's just going to ready his runes right back up and pass the turnover. And now it is going to be on to Cody Williams to try and find something a little bit more useful to do than what Iflar has been doing. And to be fair, I don't think Iflar has been doing enough right now for Cody to be too threatened, but is going to go use that Zonite Warrens while he has the opportunity. Just going to use that one might unit just to be able to utilize it. And then he's going to send his Poro in onto the Dreaming Tree, keep Annie off of that Dreaming Tree for as long as possible. Doesn't quite get that opportunity as this Void Seeker is going to come down and be able to remove that Poro from the battlefield here, going to be able to draw himself a card and hopefully find something a little bit more useful than what he's been doing in these first few turns.
Yeah, taking a character out and also preventing the point. I mean, the Poro is a more difficult unit to actually, attack into as well, given that it has a little bit better on the defense than the offense, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you're thinking of the wrong Poro.
I am. That is the one that's better on the offense.
Yeah.
But we also don't have that much offense of our own, so
We have
a little problematic.
We have an angry Poro that's pouting.
We do have a pouty Poro.
So, yeah, I mean, Iflar is going to have to figure out something a little bit quick here because right now he's only at 5 runes, so he kind of the only option he can have if he wants to accelerate is the Kai'Sa, and I don't think that feels very good right now. I don't think you can afford to recycle another rune this turn. I think you need to be able to get a little bit more rune economy, if you will, before you start recycling these runes because, I mean, yes, you are behind in points, but it's only 1, so I don't think it's too threatening. I think you have the space right now to work with. But as these turns continue, it's just going to become increasingly difficult. So,
yeah, this is one of the reasons that I'm not as huge a fan of something like Void Seeker, or these type of removal spells in general in this list. In Kai'Sa, you're able to sort of pay for those costs using your leader,
right,
a little bit, offset it some. It puts you pretty far behind. I mean, it's very negative tempo as far as what you can do per turn. Your multiple things per turn kind of don't work if you don't have the resources for it. I mean, we can't really do Darius here and get access to the other battlefield because we just don't have the resources. We don't have the energy.
Yeah. So now, I mean, so if you're Iflar here, what are you looking to do? I mean, you cleared out the little recruit. Obviously, this what is it? Machine manufacturer. That's right, manufacturer.
This guy?
No. Manufacturers. Search that. That guy.
The Faithful?
Faithful. Yeah. See, the names are a little bit. My brain hurts. All right, it's tough to remember all the names already. So Annie is going to be the choice instead, and he actually used discarded a Falling Star. So considering getting back a stacked deck or a Falling Star from
we
his,
got back up Void
discard
Seeker.
Point. Void Seeker was the pickup. Okay. So I actually kind of like this here. It's just kind of threatening, saying like, hey, look, you can send in your 1/1, but I'm just going to answer it with my Annie. And yeah, he just passes it here. Wants to be able to protect this Pouty Poro while he has the opportunity to do so. And it looks like it's just going to be a Sprite Mother to respond here from Cody Williams, which is going to be the perfect answer for this Pouty Poro. You don't want to use your Void Seeker to deal with the Sprite, but that does mean that your Pouty Poro does go away. And I think you're going to be forced into using the Void Seeker onto the Sprite solely because you need to force him to use that Faithful Manufacturer just to trade with the Pouty Poro. And then put your other recruit onto the battlefield there. So Cody is considering using the Stupefy, but doesn't really want to recycle another rune here. So instead, just going to take the trade while it's available. And the Annie is fully tapped out, which means that they trade. And so now this recruit's going to be able to come in, going to be able to discard yet another card and find himself a different card instead. So going to have to figure out what he wants to discard here. I don't know that you need that. Thousand Tail Watcher. So it looks like that is going to be the case. And honestly, I feel like Cody's in a very commanding position for this Viktor player, which is shocking to me because I think that Annie, generally speaking, does well in everything.
We just only have access to 5 on the following turn. I mean, every turn we've recycled 2 or 3 of the runes, and some of that, again, is because of the spells that we have access to. The removal spells so far have not been ones that are great for tempo. because
Mhm.
we've been a little bit behind. Had we had a 2-drop to be able to gain a little bit more early points, I would like it a little bit better. If we had stuck something so that we're actually a little bit ahead, but now we're behind and we're low on resources. You know,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I would have liked that Void Seeker. Don't know if I'd liked that Void Seeker onto the sprite there, just because uh, you had alluded to it, right? Like the fact that we're at 5 runes rather than 6 runes just means that we're never going to be able to develop a Darius here, and the fact that we're dropping this falling star on top of the fact just means that. Again, we're just stuck on these 5 runes. So this Darius is never going to be able to be utilized in this game here. And yeah, I mean, the Falling Star is going to be able to clear out quite a bit of Cody's field. But I mean, this is a Victor list. He can just make a recruit again next turn, right? You used your Falling Star to answer this Faithful Manufacturer. And yeah, I just don't think that feels good at all.
it can certainly be tricky. The Singularity here can clean up the board. It does end up recycling quite a few of the runes just because of the deflect, but I really don't even necessarily hate it. You just wipe the whole field. It doesn't matter if they retreat the Annie with something like a flash because it doesn't care about battlefield.
Right.
And it allows you to be in a position where the only real out that they have is just like playing something like a Kaisa, which you don't necessarily care as much about.
So it looks like it's a falling comet instead going to come down here. Just be able to deal with what Annie is doing here. So now Iflar has to figure out if he wants to respond to this here. He does have a gust in hand. Looks like a traveling merchant as well. So he could just gust this Annie back to his hand, be able to reuse it on the following turn. And it looks like that is going to be his consideration. So going to chain here the gust, protect that Annie while he has that available. And so, yeah, is going to be the resolution of the spell there. So
Yeah, I do like Gust on Annie here for sure.
and yeah, I mean, honestly, man, this Victor player just keeps marching along here. He's been having control of both of these battlefields for what's felt like the entire game. And yes, he has another Thousand Tail Watcher in hand. I don't know that he necessarily still needs it, and he's considering getting rid of this Lecturing Yordle instead. Looks like that is going to be the case. He wants to hold on to that second Thousand Tail Watcher here. So considering just using the Stupefy while available, opts not to do so. Instead, just pulls back the recruit, uh, makes a new recruit, and passes the turn there. So doesn't want to use that Stupefy to draw 2 cards.
I definitely think that the Thousand Tail Watcher at this point, because there are so many resources available, does make sense to hold on to. It's a very large threat that can easily take over basically any battlefield, especially in this matchup. You know, the best that Annie can hope for against that is something like, you know, put it back into their base. Pretty much it.
Yeah, that's not feeling good. So Poro is going to come in here, just be able to clean up that recruit, hopefully, but instead that Stupefy is going to come down. And now Iflar has to figure out how he wants to answer this, but the Fight or Flight, if he has it in hand, isn't going to feel good to be utilizing on a recruit. So just going to recycle that rune, draw himself that card, and Iflar is going to have to figure out how to deal with that. Instead, can't, and just pass it right back there. So Iflar has been stuck at 5 runes for what felt like the entirety of this game thus far.
Has never been above 5 this game, which is tough. I mean, obviously you can build the deck in such a way that most of what you're working with is pretty inexpensive, but it
Right.
does make it so that your Darius lines are worse because they're just not functional. It makes it so that the whole thing that you're doing in a turn is Kaisa. Now we're falling starring again, but it does feel like we're sort of pushing a rock up a hill here a little bit because Victor's able to make a unit every turn for free. Costs 1.
Yeah, and I mean Iflar is stuck to just 2 cards in hand here too, so he's got a restriction of what he has available at his hand. We know that one of those 2 cards is indeed the Annie, and a Cold Week is going to come down here. And I mean, this is just a very, very well played game here from Cody. Just been in complete control of the game this entire time. This Machine of Angel is going to come down as well. It's 4 might, very difficult to deal with. So another recruit going to be created here. Every single turn, a unit is going to be made from this Viktor here, which just makes things every turn more difficult to deal with. So as this game continues, I mean, Cody is already up 3 points to begin with. He only needs 3 more to finish this out. And I mean, Annie's the aggro deck. So this just feels doom and gloom.
Yeah, never being able to be above 5 puts you pretty far behind in these matchups. We do still have like the very interesting line of Vi plus Ride the Wind if that's in here. We have plenty of cards in the trash that we can work with. But gaining 2 points to go to 4 feels a lot worse than gaining 2 points to go to 8.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're so far behind in points makes this a very difficult game to actually win. We're going to see more Call the Weeks. We're only deploying 1 threat a turn. There's definitely more hidden blades in here. Replaying Annie and getting something back is great, but what we're getting back is just a damage spell that is also going to recycle more of our runes. I mean, again, even if we play that, we're still on 5.
Yep. And so now, I mean, Cody's already up to 6 points. This Evangel very likely wants to go into the Dreaming Tree. He's aware that this Void Seeker is there, but he wants to try and play around it a little bit here. So going to consider his options. Only 2 cards remain in hand. Didn't get to see what either of them were. Looks like one of them is that Thousand Tail Watcher that we were talking about earlier as well. So still holding on that Thousand Tail. Has 4 mana. It's going to be able to use that Sprite Mother just to be able to get around that Void Seeker line. So Iflar's going to have to figure out something quick because, well, now Cody just needs to hold the Zonite Warrens. And yeah, I mean, Iflar has a unit on the field. He doesn't really have access to this Darius, and even if he does, a Thousand Tail Watcher is going to be able to answer it.
Yeah, I mean, what is our best line here? We take this out and they get 4 more units? Is that really that? Or 3 more units back at the base? Is that really that functional? I mean, we don't have priority to cast it given that it's an action because they already control the battlefield here. So it's pretty rough.
Yep. And I mean, honestly, guys, this feels like a rock and a hard place here. This is going to be the first time all game here in game number 2 that Iflar is going to be able to have more than 5 mana available. So this Vi is finally going to see show face. He is going to be able to recycle quite a bit here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bring her all the way up to 12.
I don't
If
think
he
you necessarily need all of them. There's only so much that can be done here. Smokescreen.
You need 10. You need to recycle 7.
Why do we need 10?
Double Stupefy.
I mean, that's fine. If they double Stupefy, we still have the ability to play another something from our hand.
That's true. Yeah, you can
Field of Ruin. Or, sorry,
Void Seeker.
we could Void Seeker. We will be tapped out of that because we still would only have 2 runes, but
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
we would have access to Fight or Flight, which would then be able to push, probably the Sprite Mother back and then be able to still take it over without necessarily needing to commit 100%. Opting to keep all but 2, so it does go up to 9, I believe.
All right, I'm listen, anonymous gifter for emotional. I love you. Sorry, I got distracted by chat for there for a hot second. It's funny to me. All right, so this Vi is going to come down here. I mean, he needs to use that Fight or Flight or
Ride the Wind,
not Fight or Flight, just to be able to get that Vi here some sort of protection. So he is going to move her. Very likely into the Zonite Warrens, just to be able to try and find something. Hopefully that Fight or Flight. I guess he doesn't really need it anymore because he plays around the double Stupefy really well. The only issue is if Cody has a Cold Week, because if that is the case, then there is literally nothing that Iflar can do here to stop it. So Vi is going to come down here, and it looks like he has no answer to it. So
Color Week is
Cody,
just a spell.
Cody does have exactly that Thousand Tail Watcher. So I just don't see how Iflar is going to be able to answer anything that's going to happen here on this following turn, because both of units will be one, and he's got like 800 characters on the field.
Being at 7 makes it really tough. We can try to defend a little bit more. This just makes us a little bit softer, even still, to the Thousand Tail Watcher. You know, we have the ability to, you know, ride the wind, move the characters again on their turn. If we do have access to Fight or Flight, it's great, but there's just so many things out of Viktor here. Grand Stratagem, Thousand Tail Watcher, everything is a disaster, basically, because we just don't have enough resources to be able to deal with everything all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, so he's going to play this Traveling Merchant, but it's just not going to be enough here. So, yeah, I have to assume that this Thousand Tail Watcher is coming out right now here with Accelerate at that. So, looks like he's not even really considering what he's going to do. He just kind of feels very confident in his line here. So there's that Thousand Tail Watcher. And if I'm Iflar here, I understand that that is the game. So just going to give that fist bump out and say, hey, man, very well played. And I do have to say, I think the Viktor player played incredibly well here.
Yeah.
Navigated both of these games very well. It felt like the Annie player was pushed into a corner very early on into this game and couldn't find a way out.
Yeah, the missing a 2-drop hurts a lot, especially on the play in this deck. You really want sort of that critical mass of 2s so that you're able to basically always run one out. Even if you don't necessarily have a follow-up on the turn after, you know, you can very easily just, you know, stack deck into another 2 or, you know, run out of 3, run out of 4 if you've got them. But missing your first drop, I mean, really out of almost every deck in the format feels really bad.
Yeah.
Because not only are you losing tempo advantage, but you fall so far behind on points. Like, anytime that you can hold at all is already such a beating.
Yeah.
You know, it's free points. You can bring your unit back if you want. You can leave it there. You just have so many more options then on your following turn because you don't have to commit additional resources to conquer the battlefield. And as we saw there, you know, the deck that is intending on being a little bit more aggressive, more of an aggro deck, fell a bit behind. They were always playing sort of the control game instead of the beatdown. And I think in this matchup, they just are not ever going to be able to have more units than Viktor, right? Viktor leader power already is inherently going to wear you down out of resources because they can just make a new token, make a new recruit every turn if they want.
Yeah.
And eventually, if you are using spells, especially ones that are recycling runes to get rid of tokens, you're going to run out of cards. You're going to run out of resources before they do. You know, somebody being able to play a Thousand Tail Watcher into your 3 runes, 4 runes is pretty bad because it's just such a huge swing. You just don't have enough resources on your turn to, say, drop double Darius and maybe try to combat that on the other side, or play a Darius and a Vi and a Ride the Wind and really attack at multiple angles. You just don't have enough to be able to do all of that.
Hey guys, I'm Ursi, and I'm so excited to have our first interview here at CCS with our winner in the last round, Cody. Cody also placed 12th at Worlds for Flesh and Blood. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
My name's Cody Williams. I'm a member of Team Runaways. My main game that I play is Flesh and Blood. I host a podcast for that, but as soon as Riftbound came out, I was like, I got to play this game. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to actually practice because I had Worlds coming up. So I think I played 5 hours of this game. I saw Viktor made little 1/1 tokens, and I was like, that's good enough for me, so I'm just going to send it.
Yeah, Viktor looks so much fun, and you're really just trying to, it seems like, build your board out really wide.
Yeah.
And then you won against Annie. Can you tell us a little about the game?
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate because I had removal in my hand, and Annie's a little weak to me just removing her dudes off the board.
Yeah.
And I make infinite guys, so if they can't control my board and I'd remove their guys, it's just it's not that much of a match. To be fair, that's the first time I ever played the match. It was just in theory, I was like, this sort of makes sense, but I don't know.
Yeah, I played Annie a little bit myself, and it seems like it doesn't have the best matchup into Viktor. Is there any spice that you have in your deck that you're really excited about to get to use today?
I guess I have like. You're gonna ask me names of cards, and I've played like 4 hours, so I don't even know names of cards. It's like a 1/1 gear.
Okay.
And when you tap, it's like orb. It goes -1 to a guy. It just sits on the board. I'm testing that today because I was like, this looks kind of good. I guess I'll play it. There's some other stuff in there that I don't know is standard because I don't know what decks are standard.
Yeah, makes sense.
But we'll find out if the deck's good.
That's good. Do you have any like favorite card in the deck?
Yeah, it's the 5 cost, 4 power guy who when he dies he makes 3 1/1s. I call him Michael.
Oh, I think I know who we're talking about.
It's like Machine Angelo or something like that, but I call him Michael. So
it's blanking on me now, but I totally get you.
Every time I play him, I'm just like, I'll put Michael on the board.
You get your 3 1/1s, which you said you're in love with.
I love those.
Are you a big like token player then in general?
I like board state decks, and I like things that accrue value.
Okay.
Flesh and Blood's a big value game, and so I looked in here, I was like, this just makes cards every turn. I'll just do this thing. It's kind of like drawing a card, or maybe half a card in this game.
That makes sense. Are there any matchups you're looking forward or hope to run into in the next couple rounds?
I'd like to play some Kaisa games.
Okay.
I mean, I guess everyone, that's like the boogeyman of the format, but like, I'd like to see if I can beat it. So I'm sure I'll get there.
Yeah, Viktor will be. It'll be interesting to see how it goes into it. Obviously, I guess there's like a number of different like multi-character removals that might deal well with you.
Yeah, rain's a problem. Their comet spell's a problem.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Are there any matchups you really don't want to hit?
I'm sure there are. But I've only played against like 3 different heroes, so I have no idea what those are. I'll just figure them out as I play them, I guess.
Well, you know, they say half the battle is the mental battle, and if you don't know what you're weak against, you'll be strong against them all.
I sit down, my opponent tells me what I'm playing against. I'm like, let's see what happens. So,
Let's see. Is there anyone you would like to shout out before we cut out of the interview?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Team Runaways and all of my friends that should be here playing Riftbound, so hopefully I can get them to go to Orlando with me.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, and hopefully we'll see your friends here next time as well. And thank you guys so much for the interview. I'll see you guys soon.